Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is October 13th. Welcome to my channel. Wild, 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 wild Friday. Crazy. The market wasn't doing much. I mean, it was kind of moving around a little bit, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, the market just starts dropping. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Craziness. Craziness in these markets. That's because Trump posted about China making some sinister moves about rare earth materials. And next thing you know, tariff talk, and next thing you know, we are ripping to the downside. Ripping, ripping, ripping. And that was the whole weekend's story. This is the move. This could be it. And then all of a sudden, you hear from Trump saying, oh, I must have misunderstood. We're fine now. Wow. Insane. So, what happens? We open up and gap up on Sunday night. And now we're kind of like in this balanced session in the overnights. And where are we? The most traded price of the rolling month, 66.70. So that's the midpoint of the overnight session. So you got the bulls that wanted to get into that market. They took their profits, and now it's like we're just settling at that warm, snuggly bed, that VPOC of the rolling month, which is not a shocker. So both markets, actually Nasdaq and ES, are both at that most traded price of the rolling month. This is not surprising. That's what happens, right? Those levels are magnets, and price tends to settle on them because that's where everybody agrees the most fairest price of the month is. Okay. Now this week we have earnings seasons kicking off with banks. Okay. Now today is a bank holiday. Okay. So the banks are closed. It's Columbus Day. The bond market's closed. All right. So that generally on a Monday might make this market kind of malaise. But today with the VIX, and the VIX is only at a 20 right now. It would have been more if we kept that volatility from Friday. It is volatile. So, but today I expect some wild volatility still, because now it's a battle between people going, all right, nothing to see here, let's buy the dip, and then people maybe going, all right, I'm going to take out some of those people who just bought, and that's why we're in the middle of the overnight session. All right, we just didn't rip all the way back. Right, we're like below the 50% Fibonacci of Friday. We made it past that point in the overnights and then found selling. So there are some sellers, and now we're just at this like agreement on price. Okay. So we got Powell talking this week. Earnings, like I said, banks kick off earnings generally. So get ready for a wild ride this week. All right. Powell talking, earnings. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. When I saw that post from Trump, I was like, oh man, because I'm in some short. I'm short Microsoft in a spread, which was looking great on Friday, and I'm a short the SPY with the spread, and that was looking great on Friday's close. And then when Trump posted that, I was like, oh boy. I mean, my spread is still in the money right now, but it's right there. Microsoft kind of fought back. Um, let's see where Microsoft's at. Yeah, my spread is like still tiny bit in the money there. So not sure what I want to do with those, because this is going to be wild now that he's kind of said everything's fine. So wild, wild, wild. All right. Without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is how I come up with game plans. That is my edge. All right. Also use anchor VWAPs. Market internals let me know once the market opens what's the strength or the weakness under the hood. Okay. Execute with my book map. And then we always look at the expected move indicator free on my Discord to let me know what the market's capable of. Okay. Interestingly enough, the QQQ went right to its expected move to the downside on Friday. Pretty crazy. Okay, pretty crazy. Now, hopefully, everybody can join me. Every day I give you guys the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, the leads and laggards, just basically what's going on in our markets. Give you technical analysis, okay, and then I give you the long and short trade scenarios in Nasdaq and ES futures a little later. All right, so hopefully you guys subscribe, set that alert. All right, now if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Okay, what are you waiting for? All right. When you join my Discord, you get a bunch of stuff, right? You get my feeds, my trades, trade recaps, the weekly expected move indicator. I just posted shortly before this. I started the stream, and trade recaps. I still owe you guys a trade recap of my last trade. All right. So, like I said, let me be your indicator during the day. Today's going to be a wild one. All right. Today is going to be a wild one. So typically on these days, the volatility is off the charts. You have to widen your risk. You have to take less contracts and widen your stops. Today I might just be an SPX credit spread trader. Not sure. Depending on how the market shakes out. A lot of times on days like today, my internals are less reliable when it's super volatile. They go from negative to positive in like a blink of an eye. So it's more about price structure. That's the name of the game, right? Sometimes it's almost untradeable as far as futures. Credit spread, I have some leniency because I just, I'm not. When you do credit spread, you're not really directional. It's you got more forgiving. It's more forgiving. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're ready to just look at the futures watch list here. Let's see what's moving markets. So with those rare earth materials, a lot of like miners and those kind of stocks are getting really pushed. Silver's up 5%. It's almost at 50. All right, I own silver, and that thing just keeps moving. Okay, Ethereum up 2.56. Interesting, Ethereum's up and Bitcoin's down. So Ethereum's up 2.55, gold's up 2.35, Nasdaq's up 1.75, Russell's up 1.59, ES up 1.15, crude up 1.04. So remember that I told you about crude bottoming in the 50s? So I'm going to watch crude, okay? The Dow's up 0.77, the 10-year yield's up 0.32. The dollar is up almost at $100. So that, you got to watch that. We have to watch that. That dollar, that starts getting, remember, that was bottoming out for a while. That starts to get some strength. Generally not good for equities, okay? 30-year bonds. Now, I think the bond market is closed, so I don't think this is really moving. I don't really see it moving because it's supposed to be closed. So Bitcoin is down almost 2%. Now, I saw over the weekend a lot of posts on social media about people saying they lost millions of dollars in crypto. I think it was 19 something billion dollars was wiped. So at 1.2, 1.3 trillion in market cap, and then the stock market was given back just because of Trump saying, "Oh, we might have had a misunderstanding." It's pretty crazy. All right, the VIX is down 5.36%. All right, moving on to the Mag 7 Plus here. AMD. AMD was the darling last week, up 3.85%. followed by Broadcom up 3.53, Nvidia's up 3%, basically Tesla's up 2.47. So obviously everything's up, right? There's my Microsoft that I'm short. Berkshire Hathaway is flat. Eli Lilly flat. Netflix down here. Okay, you can see a bunch of those things. Looks like earnings are coming up. All right, so earnings season's approaching. It started this week. Moving on to top sectors. Do we have anything to see here? Newmont Mining. Yep. Remember the rare earth materials I was talking about? That's that up 3%. Qualcomm up 2.42. Palantir up 2.22. Cat up almost 2%. Oracle almost 1.8. Is there laggards? Yeah, some of the defensives that got pushed up here, like Walmart, McDonald's. McDonald's is discretionary, but it's looked at like a staple. Johnson and Johnson, PepsiCo down 1%. That makes sense. All right. Granular wise, let's look at a little more granular here. What did I do? Oh, I just did something here. That's not what I wanted to do. What did I do? I hit the wrong thing. That's what I did. Symbol. I definitely just did something that changed my list that I didn't mean to do. So, that sucks. Alright, whatever. I'll change this back later on my list here. Let's see. I'll just change that later. I'm not going to be able to get into that list because of that. I'm not going to sit here and waste your time. Let's go to sectors. Semiconductors up 3.21%. All right. Technology up 2%. A bunch of positives here. Only negatives, staples, and healthcare. Like I said, we're really bouncing hard. That's why everything's going to look like they're up a lot. Okay. All right, let's look at the economic calendar. I was looking at one YouTube guy who broke down this whole rare earth thing. It was pretty good. I think his name is ARETE. He had this real in-depth thing about the rare earth and all this stuff, how it affects things, and I'm like, all it took was Trump to say there might have been a misunderstanding. We're fine now. That sucks. That guy did a lot of work. I'm just like, Jesus, man, that sucks. To have this whole game plan and Trump just says, my bad. Unbelievable. Especially those people. I think there was, I don't know if it's true, but some people were thinking about or did commit suicide because of this in the crypto market because they were over leveraged. I don't know. Kind of, it's just nuts. We're looking at economic calendar here for this week. Remember, today's a bank holiday. Okay, it's Columbus Day. Tuesday, we have Fed Powell speaking 12:20. So Fed speak this week. Wednesday, more Fed speak. Thursday, more Fed speak. And Friday, yeah, there's really nothing there. And then that's the calendar for that. Now let's look at the earnings calendar. Okay, so nothing really today. Tomorrow, before the open, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Johnson & Johnson, Domino's Pizza, Ericsson, Albertsons, right? Okay. Also notables this week, ASML, Progressive, Dollar Tree, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Citizens Financial Group, Abbott Labs, United, what else here? Taiwan Semiconductors, Bank of New York, KeyBank, so a lot of banks, right? Charles Schwab, Travelers, what else here? Interactive Brokers, Ally Bank, State Street, American Express, and that's the earnings for this week. A lot of financials there. Okay, going back to the juice here. Today, there's really nothing that I see from Trump that's newsworthy. Right? Let's see stocks. Let's just refresh this one more time here. Just trying to see here. All right, nothing really there that's really that important. Let's look at news. J.P. Morgan unveils 1.5 trillion plan to boost investments in U.S. strategic industries. Okay. Let's see. Google says Australian law on teen social media use extremely difficult to enforce. Blackstone to buy stake in Tritax Big Box after 1.4 billion UK logistics deal. Um, I'm just looking for other things here. Crazy markets. Let's see this StubHub thing. StubHub Holdings. The company shares rose in pre-market trading as Wall Street analysts backed the ticketing platform potential for long-term growth despite the stock's rocky debut last month. Brokers began coverage on StubHub on an upbeat note after the end of the industry mandated quiet period. We believe through its well-established dominant position in the secondary ticketing market, StubHub will be available to staff affordable entry into the materially larger primary ticketing market. All right. Apple, Jeffries cuts target price. So Apple got a target price cut to 203.07. That's interesting with cents in there from 205.16. Oracle, Barclay raised its target price to 367 from 347. Okay, that's that. Let's look at breath. How did breath look? Woof, woof. I mean, this is after uh obviously Friday. 27% of stocks only above their 20-day simple moving average. Okay, once you get into oversold territory, you get into these levels around the 10%, 15% levels. That's when you can expect either some consolidation or a pop, a buy the dip moment. Okay, so very interesting. Just crazy that a post on True Social from Trump did that to the markets, right? And I've been saying for weeks that everyone's looking at when we're going to crash. I said it's going to be something we don't know about that comes out of nowhere because otherwise it's already priced in. And that's what happened. But then it was like almost like fake news in a way. Something, it's crazy. It's just insane that that's how our markets move. You know, before social media, that didn't happen. Um, all right, we're gonna get into. I think we're ready for daily charts. See this carnage that happened on Friday. Okay. All right, so here's our SPY. Okay, you can see we broke the expected move to the downside. That expected move was 657. We broke the uptrend. We almost hit the 50-day. Pretty crazy. We kind of came right to this support. This was a prior double bottom in the weeklies right here, and we kind of just breached that. Took out all of this kit buying. I think it was like a month's worth of buying. Pretty insane, right? Pretty insane. Now, where are we at now? 660.50. 660.50. We are right here. Almost at the middle, but a little bit lower than the middle. So we took back all we're up here, right? That's where's the battle happening. Let's look at futures real quick. You can see that. You see that? This overnight session has a nice big wick. because that's where it came up to. And now we're just inside that big day. Now that we've settled, we just didn't rip all the way back up. Now there's a battle here, right? There's a battle. So this could be wild because we're not at the lows, we're not at the highs, we're like in the middle. It's going to be wild. I think it's going to be very hard to be like, have a plan. It's definitely going to be wild. Okay. All right, moving on. Qs. So notice the Qs right to the expected move. Can't make that up. Right to the expected move to the downside. Okay. That was a 589.76 right there. Literally right there. Okay. Same thing. Took out all these levels. Where are we now? 599.68. 599.68. We are right here. Closer to the mid by the 20-day simple moving average. Okay. Also, a lot right here with all this congestion. It's not a surprise. Okay. Not a surprise at all. Okay. Now, let's look at futures. See, we're more up right in the middle here. 20-day simple moving average in futures as well. You see we hit the 50-day moving average in futures. Okay? So last week's range is huge. Right? Huge. Okay? So that is what's going on there. Now what I'm going to do, just wanted to show you that expected move. I'm just going to update my expected move indicator here. I'm just going to, it's a script I run. So let's update it. So now we'll have an idea of the volatility expected for this week. Okay. Boom. Now it's up there and update it. Boom. All right. So, what can we expect for this week? Check it out. Our expected move this week is $20.78. That's the range this week. Okay. That's the range. Now, if you want to see it, we'll look at it here. All right. So there we go, folks. There's the close from Friday, that black line, and this is the expected move to the downside. Right there. 632.24. That's about the 100-day moving average. To the upside, it's basically the highs from Friday. That's a big, big range. Okay, that's volatility expected. Okay, so I'm going to reset this. Set my settings back up again to where I have it. Just to show you that's the expected move, $20. Basically, okay? Alrighty. Now, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to, I don't think we need to look at market internals. They got pretty bloody, so it's not going to be much of an edge to look at it. But we are going to look at the 1 hour charts. All right, so let's move over to that. Here's our 1 hour charts. All right. So, hold on 1 second, folks. Give me 1 second. All right, back to the 1 hour charts. I'm sorry. Let's put this up one more time. All right, so real easy to look at here. So we were up here, way up here, right? We went all the way down to here, right? Then we opened up, gapped up, and right here, we're just doing this. We came all the way up to here. These are single prints, emotional selling. Okay, now I did throw on anchored VWAPs from this high and from the open. And guess what? They're converging right in the middle, right at this price. So that doesn't really give me much of an edge now. So I'm going to get rid of them. Okay. Now this most traded price, the 6670s, you can see a high volume node here. This is the battle area right here. Where are we going to accept price, above or below it? It's really what's happening here. Okay. Now, if we throw a Fibonacci from the top here, let me do it here. Right from this wick down to here, our 50% retracement is right here, 66.73, which lines up with the most traded price of the month, right? So I don't really need that fib on because the 66.70 basically tells me that. So we retraced 50% of this move. That's why we're here, right? And it's just a battle. Look, we came all the way down, had some weakness here, and now it's getting bought up. This is going to be, I feel like we're going to just do this today. I could be wrong, but I feel like we need to digest this, and we're going to be battling in here. Okay? So 66.70, write it down. We need to figure out who wins. So it could look like this, and then we start to accept price above it. That's bullish. And just the opposite for the bear side. If we do break this, come through, break the overnight lows, start to accept price, then maybe we can start doing this. So I don't know. It's very weird because the reason we moved down was like not a real reason apparently, but we needed some type of pullback. Is this the pullback? Or do we go farther? Because these tariffs are still in effect for China. I think November 1st. So we'll have to see. Okay? You know what? Let's just throw a volume profile on here to see from this where the volume's at. Yep. Most volume's at 6682. Yeah. Some volume there. You can just see the much more volumes is transpiring here. All right, moving on to the NASDAQ. There's those anchor VWAPs. I'm going to get rid of them because it's not needed now. It's not needed. They're converging right where the price is now. Okay. So 248s is basically your level in the NASDAQ, same as your 6670s in the ES. Okay. That's where the market likes to settle in at those high volume nodes. This happens to be the most traded price of the rolling month. So again, right? Now, let's throw a fib on here real quick because we saw the ES was at the 50% Fibonacci of the top of this move. Now, I believe the Nasdaq's a little ahead of that. Let's see. All right, well, 50% is here. Still at around the 248s. That's 24772s. So the market went all the way up to the 61.8s. That's usually your last line of defense here, and it got sold. Came down to the 50% retracement, and it's just playing around here. Like I said, I think this is the playground today, folks. That is the playground. So, and again, simple as this. What do we do today? Do we accept value above here and accept price above and we go up and try to clean up those singles, or do we push back down and try to go lower? This is the key. And like I said, what I think will happen is it will be just like this today. I don't think we're going to do this or do that. But I don't claim to predict the future. I'm all about probabilities. Okay? All right, that's your hourlies. Just remember the 248s and the 6670s. That's all you really got to remember. All right, now we're going to get over to the volume profile, market profile here. Let me just change my workspace. Oop. Go over to this ES. We'll try to map out some type of game plan today. All right, so this is your market profile, volume profile analysis here. The profile to the right, the composite profile of the week, that blue profile, it really shows us all the trading that was up here, and then when we ripped down out of balance, we just ripped, right? Every long was taken out. Now you can see if you just start the profile here, it's kind of balanced, right? And the most traded price was down here. But this is really a balanced little session right here. You can look at it like that. Okay, here's your 6670s where price is gravitating towards. Okay. So, you can see we have a balanced session overnight. Okay. So the levels you want to look at your midpoint of the overnights right at this most traded price of the month. So that's what we're trading around that. We're trading around that. Notice right in single prints is where resistance was. And that's generally bearish. Okay. Now the 24-hour most traded price of the month is the 6710s. So that's a high volume node. Okay. So this chart you guys look at with me every day is a 24-hour chart basically. The other charts where I really do the most traded price of the rolling week and the month, I use the RTH sessions because that's where the majority of the volume is. Okay. These are still valid, but I generally do them on the RTH sessions. Okay. So we're inside. We're inside. Big session from Friday. We have a single prints here, that's emotional selling. Single prints here, that's emotional selling. And we're right in the warm, snuggly bed of that most traded price of the month. Okay, not easy to trade this. Not easy. We closed here, opened here. Okay, this is balanced. And the goal should really be looking at the overnight lows. Okay. We have our 6670. We have our 24-hour most traded price. That's your 6710s in the beginning of the single prints to the upside. Those are your overnight highs. Okay. Now 6698 is your 50% of the Friday session. Okay. Obviously the lows with the close and the VPOC of Fridays down here. But I think we're talking about today in here. This is really where this is, I'm going to want to be only active on the edges. Okay, unless I see something that I don't see right now. Okay. So let's just get into it. And again, this is not going to be easy to trade. All right. You're going to use less contracts. You're going to widen your stops. This is going to be whippy. It's going to be, especially where we're at. We're not at the lows. We're not like at the highs. We're in the middle. So you're in the middle of Friday session. You're in the middle of the overnight. And you're at a high volume node, this composite high volume node of the most traded price of the month. It's just really bad location where you're at right now. Really bad. It shows me indecision. It doesn't show me any conviction. All right. All it tells me is Trump said my bad. We opened up, right? We gapped up on the open, and then tried to go up, hit the single prints, the most traded price. Tried to go up past 50%, couldn't, and now you're settling here. Very, very indecisive. Okay, that's why I'm saying this area is going to be choppy. Okay, that's why I want to look at the edge. All right, so it's very simple today. Not to say it's going to be simple to trade it, but the plan will be simple. So let's look at this together. All right, so I'm just starting off with the bull side just because I'm starting off with the bull side. That doesn't mean I'm bullish or bearish bias. Okay, so what could happen, right? Well, anything that comes down into this area, the overnight lows. Okay, I just want to see what price does here. I want to know what internals are doing. The internals are in parity. I'm going to expect, even if it gets breached, to go back to the mean. That could be a trade. Okay. Then if you come and hold this, you could possibly tag that 67.10s. Now, gravy, if this market's like, I'm buying this dip, then we can hold this and clean those single prints and maybe hit the most traded price of the month. I'm sorry, the month to date anchored VWAP, 67.50. I don't know if that happens. Okay. That's kind of what I'm looking at, being honest with you. All right. Now, as far as the bear side, it's going to be similar, just inverse, obviously. Okay. Well, if we push up into the 67.10s and get resistance in single prints, remember, single prints, when they're resistant, is bearish on when you're coming up into them. If we do this, retest the 67.10s, we're gonna go back to the mean, your 67.70s, and we're going to test the overnight lows. Now we could very well bounce, but if you take out those overnight lows and start to hold them, yeah, we could start possibly challenge the lows from Friday. Okay. My bet, if I'm talking about probabilities, is right here. I think we do this. We play games here, but we go back. We play games here, but we go back. I think we're going to do this today. Big moves. Usually you get a digestion the next day. That doesn't mean that has to happen. I just feel like where we're at, and I explain to everybody the indecisiveness is what's going to happen. Okay? It's very odd, very weird. The theme of the market is very weird. Right? Oh, we're going to do this to China, 100% tariffs, and then, oh, my bad, I think I misunderstood, and we should be fine now. That is like, what do you do with that? It's not easy to kind of wrap your mind around it, to come up with some theory. It's very hard now. Sold off really hard. It would have been different if we sold off a little bit and was like, oh, okay, that's pretty. And then he was like, oh, my bad. Oh, okay. We sold off really, like, a lot. Okay. Now it's your NASDAQ. It's going to be the same exact thing. Okay. The same exact thing. This plan is the same. Just different levels, obviously, because it's the NASDAQ. Now, again, very balanced profile in the overnights. Okay. The only difference is the NASDAQ has been relatively stronger a little bit. So, look, it's kind of like this is the midpoint of Friday. Right here, remember those 248s. So, the 248s is very important. That's our bull bear line. Okay. And then you have overnight highs went into single prints here. Right? These single prints were resistant. That is bearish in this case. Okay. Then you have your overnight lows. And then you Friday lows. Okay. This is what we're working with, folks. This is what we're working with. So, this NASDAQ will be a wild beast today. The ES has nothing on the NASDAQ. Okay, nothing. Nothing. So this is going to be insane. The NASDAQ. That's why I'm going to trade yes. This NASDAQ is going to be wild. All right. Let's get into scenarios. I'm going to get you guys out of here. Whoever is here. All right. If I'm a bull, let's talk about it. Okay. I might. Interesting. Why is there that thin of volume? All right. I'm actually going to put a little level here. Previous weeks. Right here. Because there's a little support right there. I'm going to break this session out. I apologize for not doing that on the ES. Okay. We're just playing at that 248. That's all we're doing. Okay. All right. Both side. Now, we're playing with this 248, right? So, we do have, and this is a little different case. All right. So, we could just take out this supply, hold the 248s, see if we can make our move up and clean these single prints. That is viable. That is. Now, if we pull back more into this level right here, the previous week's lows, okay, which level is that? This is the 24633s. Okay, see if you get support here. That's a trade. Okay, that's a trade. Now, if you go down to the overnight lows, you got to see also the close. You could bounce here and go back to the mean. Okay, that's stuff I'm looking at. Now, as far as the shorts, obviously the 248s become important. Prices right here, no shocker, 248 exactly. Unbelievable how these levels work. Okay, so what could happen here? We could push up, hit this supply, fail, retest. Now we're going to go down and test here. This is where you could bounce. But if you do fall, you have some single prints here. You could take it all the way down to the overnight lows. Maybe you test Friday's lows. Okay. Now, one more thing. You can come up here, hit the overnight highs, take them out, but find resistance in the single prints. That's bearish, and you can just take a trade right to here. Okay. That's as simple as it gets. Like I said, I'm just going to sit back. Hopefully, I can take my spreads off. All right. So that's it there. All right. Now, I'll show you my spreads where they were. Market close. Right here. Okay. So, I'm a short Microsoft, both in the money, right? Up to 40 at the close, right? I paid 90, it was worth 150. And I thought about taking some off here. Obviously, that would have been nice in retrospect, right? If I took two off here, that would be $300, and I paid 360. So I could have did that, right? And then this went up almost to $3, doubling. This is the broken wing butterfly, or I call it the reverse mullet here in the SPY. I took one off here for $212. And of course, I took one off, and I'm like, man, it almost went to 3. So I almost took one off again, and it would have paid for my spread. I would have zero debit. But currently, SPY is at 660. So this is still in the money right now. So I might take some off here and lock in. I might, if I can pay for the whole spread, I will do that today, and then I'll have no risk. Okay, we'll have to see. It's wild. On any move lower, I'm taking some off here, or I might just take it off all. Microsoft's a little different. It's like right at my put here, 517 and a half. That's where the market is right now. So we'll see. We'll see. Not sure if anybody's understanding what I'm doing in the options market, but just understand I'm short the SPY, short Microsoft, basically. All right. That's all you really got to know. And if you really have to know, don't worry about the spread. If I collapse them like this, let's see if I like that. All it matters is like if you bought a call, like just picture it this way. If I bought a put on Microsoft, it cost me 90 cents. It's worth 150. That's all you got to understand. The spread in SPY, I bought it for $1.50. It was up to 283. That's it. Just like if you bought a put. So these puts, think of them. I bought a put for this, and they were worth this. I'm up this and up this. That's it. That's it. You don't have to understand my spreads. Just understand that. That's how the options market works. Like I said, anybody has questions, let me know. All right. All right. Oh, that's it, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed that analysis. Smash that like button. That will help my channel out a lot. And as always, hopefully you guys can join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Let me be your morning coffee, tea, water, your choice of beverage. All right. Let me be your podcast, like Rosita. She likes to listen to me every morning. I'll give you the raw deal. All right. I'll let you know what's going on in the markets with a bunch of technical analysis. All right. Now, you want more in-depth coverage? You join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. I give you the weekly expected move indicator for free there. And I give you intraday commentary. And I'm giving you my options trades. Okay? And I can control my risk in the options trades. Now, don't get me wrong. They're advanced. But I can break them down very simply for anybody who wants to learn. Okay? Because to me, just buying a naked call or a put, and if I don't want to spend a lot of money, I'm going to use a spread to my favor with technical analysis. So I'm going to keep doing it. It's a skill I have, so I'm going to keep using it. I ignored that skill for a little bit, and because I'm still focused on futures. All right, so I'm going to continue to show you guys that. Anybody's interested, drop a question. All right, now that's it for me today, folks. We got our plans. All right, so everybody remember, no trade's a trade. This is going to be wild today. It's going to be wild. It will be something if we sell, we go further. It would be something if we just go, oh man, what's going on? We just trapped the buyers who thought this was a dip. That would be, whoa. We'll have to see what transpires with that, okay? All right, everybody. Have a great day. If I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you tomorrow morning.